Well, now it's clean-up time. Last night I plonked everything in that big bucket of petrol and it seems to have come up quite good. The silicone, this was one that was all heavily silicone, that all just fell off, so there was no scraping or anything like that. There is a little bit of residual stuff in these holes here, but you can see how it goes. It just goes like gummy, so it comes out. We've got to clean all those out. You know, just push a punch through, get rid of it. It all comes out. The next thing is give it a quick, make sure it's dry. I'm going to take these bearing races out, and then we're going to pop it through the sandblaster just to get rid of all this staining, and then we'll put it through the wet bead blaster. Well, like I say, all the covers that had a lot of silicone, it's just dropped off. I'd give this a quick sandblast on the outside last night, but you know, bits and pieces like this, that can easily be cleaned by just shoving it in a bit of petrol. I know it sounds a bit crude and stuff like that, but trying to get silicone off is a real pain. So let's start to clean these bits up, and I'll come back later with this very same piece. Here we have a couple of flanges. These are the flanges off this very dirty transfer case, and I've just put that through the blaster for about 2 minutes. And now you can see this bolt here, how bad it is. You see it's all bent. So what we're going to do is, to replace the bolts, it's kind of easy really. All we've got to do is bang these and it'll knock that shield off. There's no circlip on this one. But there is on the rear. You see there's a little circlip there, so we've got to take that off. And usually you have to take the shield off to get the circlip off, sometimes. But I just wanted to show you sort of a before and after type of thing. See if we can get these bolts out here. I don't know, let's see if we can get that shield off. How easy was that? And you can see there's a little place in there I didn't sandblast because I couldn't get to it, and equally in there too. So we're going to clean these up and then we'll put them through the wet bead blaster. And there we go. That's straight out the bead blaster. I put new bolts in, cleaned everything up, everything looks new. It comes out really well and it's quick. But like I said, the bead blaster is kind of expensive. So what we do now with this, crown rust proofing. Then, you know, you could paint it, I suppose. It looked really nice painted, but I'm just going to put some crown rust proofing on it. The idea behind this type of design is that the bolt heads won't turn when you're fastening it up, as if. But yeah, no. So that's how to resurrect a part. Kind of quick. So this morning, before my sandblaster runs out of sand, I'm just going to give these a quick go over, and we'll bead blast those and see what they look like. So there you go. That's out the vapor honer. I like to call it a wet bead blaster rather than vapor honing. It's I don't know, but it comes out a nice, pleasing effect. And you can probably see here the detail that isn't destroyed by sandblasting if you use a very fine sand. I use something that's been in the machine over and over and over again. So I do, in the sandblaster, I use sand for steel first and then put the aluminium in afterwards. I know it's a bit of a mess about, but it breaks down the sand to even finer. Because I use, what's it, 60-40 sand, which is kind of fine, but it's even better once it's broke down and recycled over and over again. So that looks like today's job is getting all this lot cleaned up. I'm going to knock all the bearing races out of this housing. You know, get them all out, get them all cleaned up, take the plug out, take that bearing out of there, and then we shall see what we need. And I'm going to clean these up anyway. I know I haven't been given the go-ahead of what the expense is, but aluminium castings we can use all the time, so even if this project is abandoned I can use these again. So that's today's job, and I'll tell you something, it is a better job to do in spring or summer with the doors open because it stinks of petrol in here. That's the only downside. The problem is if I leave it outside, it's going to get full of snow and water, so I can't really do anything about it. So we only do this in dire when we're in dire straits and we can't go outside. Anyway, enough of that, let's get on with this. If you're ever going to do gearboxes and things like this of this nature, transfer boxes, whatever, invest in a really good pair or a good set of Circlip pliers, and especially like these with the lock-in ones. I got these from Clark's in the UK and they are brilliant. They come with a myriad of different sizes and angles of tips. But once many years ago I bought some of these, I got them Flange from the United States. These are supposed to be, yeah, they're made in the States. They're awful. Look at the tips. See how they bend? These don't. These are brilliant. But these here are, what happens is when you pull the clip together, the Circlip, when you pull it together, you can see this angle here, it just springs off. Whereas these lock on to get this off. So what we're going to do, I've just taken the Circlip out of here because I want to take the bearing out, because I want to clean this casing. But first of all, we've got to take, now we can see this transducer here, it's held in by an Allen screw. Once we get that out, we can get the inside housing out. Now what I usually do is just get a little screwdriver and tap it out. So let's see how that goes. Right, after a bit of a struggle I managed to get the Allen bolt out of here, and that's the transducer. And you can probably see there that the drive is very small. I don't know why they did it like that. It was crazy. But this is the sort of thing if you want to put an electronic speedometer on your car. But like I say, you've got to get the right drive, which you're a bit limited to. So now what we've got to do is get that out of there. Now this here has got some little lip on here, and 9 times out of 10 you cannot get a screwdriver behind that to pull that off. Where are you? You're up there you go. You can't get a screwdriver, so let's have a go and see if we can. Might do, I don't know. Right, let's give it a go. This is very difficult to do when it's on the car, and you want to do it evenly. Oh, look at that. Call me a liar. There we go, that's that out. And there's the gear. Now you can probably see inside there that is a very small drive. In here we're going to take all the seals out, and we're going to give that a blast as well. Should I just do it in a, there's a question. Why don't I just miss out the sandblaster and go straight onto the bead blaster? Well, the simple reason is that sand is cheap and it's easy to clean out and stuff like this. If I was to put this in the bead blaster, wet bead blaster, it would take quite a long time to get that nice finish. And also, and this is the most important thing, it contaminates your water, which is a pain in the ass to change. So I prefer just to give them a very light sandblast first, and then put them through the bead blaster. So let's do that. Also, we've got now the Circlip out of there, so we can push this main shaft, this rear shaft out, and the customer states that he wants to put a heavy duty shaft in there, which is no problem. And you know, some of that bearing's really nice in there, so I'm going to keep that together to use on another job. So this is a cover that I put in for a few hours, and this had silicone on it, and you can see how it's lifted it off. If I put it on the bench, we've got some little wire brushes here, and see what it comes off like. Not too bad. Better than scraping, but scraping would certainly help. Have we got a scraper? Available in the shop. Oh, see how easy that is? Look at that. Look at this here. gaskets, no problem. Drop off. And then finish it off with a little brush. Got a lot of fanging about in it, cleaning cars and parts of. I think that's the worst part of doing these, is all the clean up. Now, these wire brushes aren't anything special, they're just a little small steel brush we get from the dollar shop. So it doesn't really have to be anything too fancy. There we go. Now when you're putting these back together, if you haven't got the drilling in the transfer case itself, just fill these full of silicone, because if not, oil can get through here and it can leak. So I'm going to knock the bearing out of that, and we're going to clean him up. Now this one is for the other gearbox on the floor, so I just did that one just to show you how to get the silicone off. But the thing is that what I did was I ran out of sand. I ran out of sand for my sandblaster. Where is it now? Here. And I usually use a 60-40. All I could get was 20-30. It's far too severe for aluminium. It's more like for steel, and it's certainly not for this cabinet. So I'm in a bit of a desperate place to get some sand. I think my sandblaster actually has some in, and the beauty about this machine here is you don't need it full to the top. It only needs a few cupfuls in it. It only needs a bit, and then we can mess about with this, because it's Saturday afternoon. There's nothing to do. It's freezing cold. But then the castings will come up like that. You know, it's really nice. But the coarse sand makes it hard work for the vapor honer to put a nice finish on like that. So that's what we're looking for, that nice shiny finish. I've just done a casting for the second transfer case, and to be quite honest, the casting was very porous on the outside and it wouldn't come up really well, which disappointed me somewhat, but beggars can't be choosers. But this one that's on the bench here, we're going to use some fine sand on that one. We're going to knock the bearing races out and try and get that one with fine sand. Let's see how it goes.